This happened to two of my friends and I. 3 years ago, we were driving from Texas to California, and along the way, we made quite a few stops, not only to get some gas, but to eat, and a few times we were so tired we had to stop at a motel to sleep. We tried to save money a couple of times and slept in the car at a rest stop. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that sleeping at a rest stop is not the greatest idea, especially since we didn't have a plan or a designated spot in mind. We were too tired to drive in the middle of the night anyway. Driving through Arizona, the rest stop was completely empty. There was nobody there for the majority of our trip. And on the occasion I'm speaking about, I was sitting in the driver's seat with both of my friends laying in the back of the truck in sleeping bags. I couldn't sleep though. I got out of the car like 3 times to walk over to the vending machine by the bathrooms. I did fall asleep though at about 4 a.m. I didn't sleep for long. The Mountain Dew I drank went right through me and I had to go pee. But before I opened the door to get out, something caught my eye. Standing on the other side of the empty parking lot was a person. I squinted my eyes to see them better, but could only see that it was a man. I'm pretty sure he was standing with his back facing the highway and forward facing me. I actually didn't believe what I was seeing was true because of how scary it was. This is the kind of things that you see in scary movies. I remember thinking that as I looked at this person, it did take me a long time to accept that it was real, and I sort of whisper yelled to my friends in the back, to which one of my friends made a grunting noise, and the other one just ignored me. I opened the back window of my truck and whispered louder, telling them to get the hell up. Both of them moved but didn't sit up. I turned to look at the person once more and was startled to see that the person had moved closer to my truck. He was now standing in the middle of the parking lot, and now I could see him much more clearly. He was wearing all black and black gloves. He pointed to the field behind my truck in a way like he wanted me to look away from him. I turned over my shoulder again and yelled, "Guys, wake up and look." They both sat up and were now concerned because I had told them to look out. They looked around and asked what. I turned to face the person again and he was gone. I looked in the direction of the bathrooms behind me, over in the field, and he was just gone. My friends jumped into the truck after they saw how freaked out I was, and we all got the hell out of there. We didn't see the man again, of course. I didn't stop for the whole night after that. I only slept after I reached where I was supposed to at the designated hotel. My best friend Logan and I were 20 years old when this took place. We were driving from Washington to California, and then to Mexico. It was pretty late at night, and I was in the passenger seat asleep. I woke up to the sound of talking, and looked to see Logan muttering to himself. I asked him what he was doing, and he jumped. He didn't know what to say, and I just said, "Don't worry about it, it's nothing." I asked him if he wanted me to drive, and he said no, so I fell back asleep. I woke up a little while later and switched the playlist on my iPod. I looked at him, and he was just driving, so I just fell back asleep. The next time I woke up, the car was stopped, we were in a field, and Logan was gone. I of course flipped out and got out of the car. I could see the road we were driving on. Logan had driven off the road and into the field about 50 feet. I found him sitting in the front of the car, muttering. I demanded that he tell me what the hell was going on. He says that he didn't know, and I got back in the car and drove us to a motel. The next morning, he was laughing, acting totally normal, and told me that the night before was nothing and that I needed to forget about it. Still, to this day, I keep asking him every now and then what was happening that night, but I still don't know, and I have no idea what he was doing that night. I had just turned 18, and I bought my first car with the money that I had saved up from my minimum wage job. It was a 15-year-old blue Honda Civic. I bought it off of Craigslist, and the guy I bought it from said it was in perfectly good condition. With that being said, I called up my best friend Stephanie and asked her if she wanted to do a mini road trip with me, just us 2 girls on the road. She said yes, and I picked her up the next afternoon. We didn't really have a destination in mind, just kind of wanted to drive throughout the day and see where we'd end up. Now we're on the road driving through the backwoods of Wyoming, 5 hours into the drive when my car starts to pour out black smoke from the hood. Stephanie and I start tripping out and keep driving until we found a gas station. Luckily, it was one of those half gas stations, half mechanic shop type. We pull in the car, still smoking, and we ask the mechanic guy if he can take a look at our car. He looks at us both up and down, with a really perverted type of look. He spits out some tobacco-filled spit before he says, "Let me take a look." He pops the hood and figures out that the screws on the oil filter thing are loose, and the oil was pouring out and burning, and that's where the smoke came from. He says, "Yeah, I can fix it. Just go into the gas station and give me about 15 minutes. This guy really creeped us out, but we were just thankful that he was helping us. 15 minutes go by, and he says, "It's as good as new." We thank him, tip him, and head out onto the road. We get about 5 miles down the road, and the car starts shaking. He's giving this thumping noise from beneath the hood. We pull up on the side of this two-way road that we are on, and get out. At this time, cell phones were just coming out, so only rich people owned one. We were stranded by this point. The sun was almost down. We were trying to think of a plan. Do I go get help? Do we both go? Should one stay back with the car? As we were figuring out what to do, we saw an old, grimy Chevy truck coming towards us. We flagged down the truck, and it stopped about 10 yards behind our car, with its headlights nearly blinding us. As we looked at it, the person stepped out. As he got closer to us, we realized it's the mechanic guy from the gas station. We were so relieved. We yelled out, "Oh, thank God, can you please check out our car again?" The guy didn't say anything, just slowly walked towards us. And that's when we saw it. He was holding a large kitchen knife at his side. Stephanie grabbed my hand and pulled me as she started sprinting away. The man started chasing after us. We were running as fast as we could. The road we were on was surrounded by trees and bushes, so we jumped inside of these huge bushes and hid from the guy. We saw him run by. We stayed quiet till eventually we didn't see him again. Then we took off, running until we found another town, and where we were able to call the police. The cops eventually came out, but were no help. We eventually had a tow truck pick up our car, and my dad picked us up. That was the scariest moment of my life. I still wonder what would have happened if that guy had caught up to us.